I've been a fan of the Mega Man games since the beginning. From the classic 8-bit side-scrollers on the NES back in the day, growing up with the 32-bit versions of both the original series and the X series, playing the spin-offs like the 3D Mega Man Legends games, and even the card-based Battle Network and Star Force RPGs. The Blue Bomber and its many forms have been a part of my life throughout the years. Despite Mega Man being a named mainstay in gaming history, one of the last notable entries in the franchise was Mega Man 10 way back in 2010. And with the cancellation of Mega Man Universe later that year, followed by Legends 3 not long after, at the time, it was unclear if we'd be getting a proper Mega Man game anytime soon. Mighty No. 9 was the supposed spiritual successor, but as we all know, things didn't turn out as we'd all hoped. It wasn't until 2017 when Capcom finally announced the Blue Bomber's return with a proper sequel, Mega Man 11. I'll admit, despite being overly ecstatic about the brand new mainline Mega Man game, I didn't grab this game the moment it came out. Life got in the way and there were still many other games in my backlog. I didn't want to know anything about the game outside of what I saw in the announcement trailer, and tried my best to remain blind by avoiding reviews, videos, and discussions about it. Still, I was surprised that no one was really talking about the game when it finally came out. But like I said, trying to stay blind with regard to the details about the game, I didn't look into it. After putting it off for a little over 2 years, I finally got to play Mega Man 11, and I gotta say, it's everything that I've been looking for after all these years. Mega Man 9 and 10 brought the 8-bit classic style back to the series, and while they were amazing games, I was still looking for that modern 2.5D transition that I expected the series to naturally evolve into. Mega Man 11 looks incredible! It's by no means a graphical wonder, especially by today's standards, but the artistic approach that the designers took for this game hits the right notes. Keeping a sense of familiarity while also incorporating some modern aesthetics makes it feel like the series grew up a little along with you. Character redesigns look great, the new robot masters look amazing, and even the new enemy grunts are adorable. Not only does the game look great, but it also feels great. Anyone who has played the old Jump and Shoot Man games will feel right at home here. Everything feels just about how you'd remember it, save for maybe the sluggish ladder climbing, but I digress. '11 keeps Mega Man's modern toolset of being able to slide and charge up his buster shots. New to the series is the double gear system, which lets you either slow down time or power up your weapons, and when in a pinch allows you to do both at the same time. The double gear system is an extremely powerful tool that might make or break your experience. It's so strong to the point that it can trivialize certain scenarios and challenges when abused. I've had a few discussions with people that docked this game points for having the double gear system because it made the game too easy at times. However, the game is designed well enough that, much like older Mega Man titles, can be tackled in many different ways with or without relying on the double gear system, and even can be played to completion while ignoring the new mechanic entirely. I'll also say up front that Mega Man 11 is not an easy game. Veteran players will get a kick out of how challenging the game can be, and it'll surely beat the crap out of newcomers. Rogue robots, pitfalls, traps, and spikes will litter the stages, ready to take away your one-ups if you aren't careful. Though I will admit that despite this game being wonderfully challenging, it's not nearly as hard as say Mega Man 9 or 10. The challenge of 11 feels more akin to one of those original NES titles where a lot of the traps don't feel cheap, driving the sense that I failed because of a mistake I made in the game. A great inclusion that the developers incorporated is being able to select the game's difficulty. 9 and 10 also had the option to select different difficulties, but the last time I saw the modes having drastic differences in gameplay was in Mega Man Powered Up on the PSP, wherein easier modes would change the levels to a point where spike traps would have covers over them and extra platforms would be present to make traversal easier. Superhero mode offers the most challenge by not having any energy drops, increased damage to you, stage enemies having more health, and bosses taking less damage and performing enhanced versions of their regular attacks. I recommend starting off on normal mode for a truer Mega Man experience, but don't be ashamed to switch to easier difficulties if you're not having fun. When it comes to level design, let's take a page from an episode of Sequelitis.
What's unique about video game is that there are ways that you can teach a player as they play.
Mega Man
Mega Man, there's a hole in the zipline that you...
No, shut up! I don't need you!
Stages are structured in a way that it introduces the hazard/gimmick to you in a controlled environment before putting you in any real danger, or at the very least gives you enough time to internalize that it's an oncoming threat. I also noticed that if you bring a boss's weakness, their stage has sections where you can take advantage of bringing that weapon around, such as these spider enemies in Acid Man stage being in the perfect spot to get blocks dropped on them. Or this section in Impact Man stage where these traffic cones shoot missiles at you and the perfect way to deal with them is having an acid barrier active. One of the bigger stage interactions that blew my mind was learning that Blast Man's bombs outright destroy those stone mazes in Block Man stage. 11 does a few neat little things that you might not even notice the first time around. Remember how you can cut off Flame Mammoth's trunk in X1? Or when you ignore the ride armor, you notice that the enemy pilots would also be out of their ride armors later in the stage? Going back to those spider enemies in Acid Man stage, hitting the spiders with weak attacks will cause it to drop smaller spiders. Looking underneath the starting platform is some green liquid. If the small spiders fall into the green liquid, you'll see that they're not having a good time. This gives you a hint that green liquid is bad. Seeing the pool of liquid immediately after that being in a different color makes you wonder if it's dangerous or not. Then you see one of these slime-throwing enemies spewing out some goo that changes the color of the liquid. Observing it long enough, you internalize that as long as the liquid isn't green, it's still safe. Another little detail that may go unnoticed, again with the same spider enemy but this time in Torchman stage. At some point in the level, you'll run across these flame-spouting mushroom dudes who look to heat up this metal platform that you're meant to cross. You'd assume that touching the heated panels would deal damage to you, so naturally you'd jump over them. But if you weren't sure if they would actually hurt you, there's another similar section in the stage, but this time with those spider bots. If the tiny spider bots get caught on the heated platform, bye-bye tiny spiders. It's just really cool seeing these little extra details that didn't need to be there. As with any Mega Man game, the music needs to be killer. Mega Man 11 is no exception. While the songs aren't as immediately catchy compared to tracks from previous titles, what we got here is golden. Marika Suzuki composed some real bangers here, from the welcoming and hype-inducing title theme, the almost familiar tune of the stage select theme, to my now favorite Wily stage theme. The soundtrack is amazing and, at least to me, hammers down the feeling that the Blue Bomber has returned. But despite all the positives I can throw at this game, it is lacking in certain aspects. Going off of Mega Man Powered Up, Mega Man 9, and Mega Man 10, I was really hoping that 11 would have some form of unlockable alternate character. Powered Up had alternate modes where you can play the entire game as each of the Robot Masters, granted that you defeated them beforehand using only the Buster. 9 and 10 had you play as Proto Man or Bass, either as an unlock or via DLC. I was really hoping to see a playable role by the end of my Mega Man 11 run. I was also disappointed to learn that the Endless Attack mode from Mega Man 9 and 10 isn't a feature present in 11. It sort of exists in the form of Dr. Light's Trials, which is fun in its own right. There are a few other challenges too, such as Boss Rush mode and Time Attack modes. It's just a shame that certain features were omitted. The inclusion of a gallery mode is pretty cool. Here you can view character models of everyone, even bosses and enemies, as well as read up on their lore and functions. Mega Man 11 does so much so well that it's hard to fault. It's not the perfect game by any means, but it's definitely become one of my new favorite entries in the franchise. It offers a great challenge to veteran players while being very accessible to new players. At a budget asking price of only $30 at launch for the standard version, this game is a steal. If you're a fan of the classic jumpin' and shootin' side-scroller, you're doing yourself a disservice by missing out on this title. The Blue Bomber is back better than ever, and I hope that this isn't the last that we'll see of him. Thank you guys for checking out the video. If I haven't made it clear, I love this game and urge you all to give it a shot. We're trying out a few different things to churn out new content for the site, the stream, as well as the YouTube channel, and we'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to rate the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. This has been Migoy. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.